directors, observers, and our other stakeholders who are not able to join physically to follow the proceedings. I also wish to inform you that a number of safety and health measures have been put in place by our company for this meeting. Kindly speak to any of the ushers in the red t-shirts, red and white t-shirts, if you require assistance. Ladies and gentlemen, there are 8 items of business before you today. You will have the opportunity to move and second motions put to the meeting and vote on each motion. There will also be ample opportunity for questions and comments. Please ensure that you raise your hands when you're called upon before you speak. Microphones have been provided and shall be handled by ushers who shall move around to shareholders moving or seconding votes put to the meeting. I wish to appeal to each questioner to be brief with your comments. I would like to confirm that the Register of Directors' Holdings is available for inspection during the meeting in compliance with Section 301, subsection 8 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. Before moving to the formal aspect of the meeting, I would like to introduce very briefly the members of the Board of Directors. To my immediate left is Mr. Toby Adeni, our Managing Director. Next to Mr. Adeni is Mr. Ibrahim Shodikwe, our Finance Director. And to his left is Mrs. Uma Yusuf Aboki, Independent Non-Executive Director. To her left is Mr. Chika Nwobi, Non-Executive Director. To my immediate right, our Company Secretary, Mr. Peter Dada. And to his right, Mrs. Adenike Ogunlesi, Independent Non-Executive Director. Mr. Uchenna Nwakama is an Executive Director. And to his right, Ms. Ngozi Edozian, Independent Non-Executive Director. And to her right, Mr. Michael Ikpoki, Independent Non-Executive Director. I offer apologies on behalf of Mr. Ben Langat, who is a non-executive director of the company. Ben was unfortunately bereaved during this week and is unavoidably absent at this meeting. My name is Bolaji Balogun. I would like to introduce the representatives of our auditors, Mrs. Uche Okoli, partner, and Mr. Oluwadamilola Olooto. Did I get that right? Our registrars, Greenwich registrars, are also represented by Ms. Anne Mutua and Mrs. Moturayo Ajijola. We have the representatives of our regulators. If I might start from the SEC, Mrs. Amaka Okechukwu. From the Corporate Affairs Commission, Barrister Mrs. Habiba Adamudiko. And representing the Nigerian Exchange Group, Ms. Peggy Halliday. I would now like to introduce the members of the Audit Committee. The shareholder representatives on our Audit Committee, Mr. David Oguntoye, who is Chairman. Alhaji Wahab Ajani, and Mr. Kolawole Durojaye. The board is represented on the audit committee by Mr. Michael Ikwoki and Ms. Ngozi Edozian. We also have a number of our key management staff and members of the Unilever Nigeria leadership team who are in the audience. Please rise and take a bow. I will now call on the company secretary to read the notice of the meeting, which is on pages 7 to 9 of the annual report and financial statements.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Notice is hereby given that the 101st Annual General Meeting of Unilever Nigeria PLC will be held at the Shell Hall, Muzon Center, Marina, Lagos, on Friday, 8 May 2026 at 10 a.m. for the following purposes. Ordinary business. To lay before the members the report of the directors, the audited financial statement for the year ended 31st December 2025, together with the report of the Statutory Audit Committee and the independent auditors thereon. Item number 2, to declare a dividend. Number 3, to elect and re-elect director to it. 1, to elect Mr. Ibrahim Shodikwe and Mr. Uchenna Nwakama, being directors elected since the last annual general meeting. 3.2, to re-elect the following directors retiring by rotation: Mr. Michael Ikwoki, Mr. Ben Langat, and Ms. Ngozi Edozian. Item 4, to disclose the remuneration of managers of Unilever Nigeria PLC. Item 5, to authorize the directors to fix the remuneration of the independent auditors. Item number 6, to elect members of the Statutory Audit Committee. Special business by ordinary resolution. Item number 7, to consider and if thought fit, to pass the following as ordinary resolution: that the remuneration of the non-executive directors of Unilever Nigeria PLC for the year ending December 31st, 2026 be and is hereby fixed at 120 million naira only as directors' fees. In addition, sitting allowances will be paid at standard agreed rates for each meeting attended. Item number 8, to consider and if thought fit, pass the following resolution as an ordinary resolution of the company: that pursuant to Rule 20.8 of the Rule Book of the Nigerian Exchange 2015, Issuers Rule, a general mandate be and is hereby given, authorizing the company during the 2026 financial year and up to the date of the next annual general meeting to procure goods, services, and financing, and enter into such incidental transactions necessary for its day-to-day operations from its related parties or interested persons on normal commercial terms, consistent with the company's transfer pricing policy. All transactions falling under this category, which were earlier entered into in 2026 prior to the date of this meeting, are hereby ratified. Subject to the approval of shareholders, can we take the notes as read?
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as it is the custom of our annual general meeting, I could provide a brief overview of the chairman's statement, which is on pages 10 to 12 of the annual report, unless you would rather take it as read. Thank you very, very much. In addition, thank you very much. The managing director's statement is on pages 13 to 15 of the annual report and financial statements. May I also seek your permission to take it as read. Thank you very much. Thank you, Alaja. We're going to get you to the mosque on time. Distinguished shareholders, ladies and gentlemen, item number 1 on our agenda is to lay before the members the report of the directors and the audited financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2025, together with the reports of the Statutory Audit Committee and the independent auditors thereon. As copies have been circulated to you in accordance with the Companies Act, I hereby lay before this meeting the report of your directors, the audited financial statements, and the reports of the Statutory Audit Committee and the independent auditors thereon. I now call on Mrs. Uche Okoli, a partner in the firm of Forvis Mazars, the independent auditors, to read the independent auditors report, which is on pages 70 to 73 of the financial statements.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, distinguished shareholders. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Chairman, distinguished shareholders, having earlier circulated our report, may I, with your permission, read the first 3 paragraphs and the last 2 paragraphs. Independent Auditors Report. To the members of Unilever Nigeria PLC, report on the audit of the financial statements. Our opinion. We have audited Unilever Nigeria PLC's, the company's financial statements, which comprise the statement of profit and loss and other comprehensive income for the year ended 31 December 2025. The statement of financial position as at 31 December 2025. The statement of changes in equity for the year then ended. The statement of cash flows for the year then ended. The notes to the financial statements, which include a summary of significant accounting policies and other explanatory information. In our opinion, Unilever Nigeria PLC's financial statements give a true and fair view of the financial position of the company as at 31 December 2025 and of its financial performance and its cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with the International Financial Reporting Standards and in the manner required by the Companies and Allied Matters Act and the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria Act number 42, 2023. Basis for our opinion. We conducted our audit in accordance with the international standards on auditing. Our responsibilities under those standards are further described in the auditor's responsibilities for the audit of the financial statements section of our report. We believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. Independence. We are independent of the company in accordance with the International Ethics Standards Board for Accountants Code of Ethics for professional accountants. We have fulfilled our other ethical responsibilities in accordance with the IESBA Code. I'm now moving to the last 2 paragraphs. Report on other legal and regulatory requirements. The Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 requires that in carrying out our audits, we consider and report to you on the following matters. We confirm that, 1, we have obtained all the information and explanations which, to the best of our knowledge and belief, were necessary for the purpose of our audit. The company has kept proper books of accounts so far as appears from our examination of those books, and returns adequate for our audit have been received from branches not visited by us. The company's statements of financial position and its statements of profit or loss and other comprehensive income are in agreement with the books of accounts and returns. Compliance with FRC guidance on assurance engagement report on internal controls over financial reporting. In accordance with the requirements of the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria, we performed a limited assurance engagement and reported on the management assessment of the company's internal controls over financial reporting as of 31 December 2025. The work performed was done in accordance with the ISAE 3000 revised. ISAE means International Standard on Assurance Engagement. Assurance engagement other than audits or review of historical financial information, and the FRC guidance on assurance engagement reports on internal controls over financial reporting. We have issued an unmodified conclusion in our report dated 23rd of March 2026, signed by Favis Mazars. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Okoli. I now call on Mr. David Oguntoye, Chairman of the Audit Committee, to read the report of the Audit Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, sir. I say good morning, ladies and gentlemen, the board, regulatory authorities, and distinguished shareholders. Good morning once again. The report of the Statutory Audit Committee to members of Unilever Nigeria PLC can be found on page 63 of the annual report and financial statements for 2025. In accordance with the provisions of sections 404, subsection 4 and 7 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, the members of the Statutory Audit Committee of Unilever Nigeria PLC hereby report as follows. We have exercised our statutory functions under sections 404, subsection 7 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, and we acknowledge the cooperation of management and staff in conduct of these responsibilities. We confirm that, 1, the accounting and reporting policies of the company are consistent with legal requirements and agreed ethical practices. 2, the internal audit programs are extensive and provide a satisfactory evaluation of the efficiency of the internal control systems. 3, we have considered the independent auditor's post-audit report in respect of year ended 31 December 2025 and management responses thereon, and are satisfied thereto. Members of the statutory audit committees are kindly be upstanding for recognition as I mention your name. 1, Mr. David Oguntoye, my humble self, as the chairman and shareholders representative. Alhaji Wahab A. Ajani, a shareholders representative. Mr. Kolawole Drojaye, also a shareholders representative. Mr. Michael Ikoki, non-executive director. And Ms. Ngozi Edozin, non-executive director. And Mr. Peter Dada, the company secretary, served as our secretary throughout all our deliberations. Dated 17th March and signed by my humble self, David Oguntoye, as chairman. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Oguntoye. I shall be pleased to take questions and comments which you may have on the chairman's statement, the managing director's report, and the 2025 financial statements before we proceed to the next item. In making your comments and/or asking your questions, it would ensure that we give the right answers if you refer to the page of the financial statements to which your questions or comments relate. Members should also please be brief in their comments and questions to give an opportunity to a number of other shareholders to have their say. Let me start on the left, the gentleman in the glasses, please.
Good morning. Good morning, Chairman, and those from the regulatory authorities, as well as my distinguished shareholders. Good morning, all. Now, I start on the issue of sustainability, because as we all know,
your name, please.
Bamishile is the name, sorry. Bamishile. Sustainability touches all aspects of the corporate operations. And from pages 47 to pages 61, you'll see the amount of work that the company has put into the sustainability report. They also itemized all aspects of what they want us to know about, including procurement, environment, carbon step down, and so on and so forth, including stepping back on imports. All these are composed in pages 47 to 61. Now, as to suppliers that are locally sourced, which increased from 57% to 56% to 67%, while from outside Nigeria reduced from 44% to 33%. Can we give them a round of applause? Because this definitely conserves foreign exchange, as you all know. Because when you make effort to source all your raw materials locally, then you don't have anything to do with foreign exchange wahala. So I want to thank them very much, and also for the carbon footprint that they are stepping down, and also what they are doing to our farmers and the community, because they are also empowering them in one way or the other. And moving forward, we hope to see them move up to 80% for locally sourced materials. Now, what efforts are you making towards exporting your products to other regions of the world, especially some African countries, so as to earn foreign exchange? And then the long service awards obligation, which is climbing to 1 billion. I hope that you will try to make effort to clear these outstanding. And I thank you sincerely for giving us dividend, because some other companies that started out on the same level as you in Nigeria, Nigerian breweries, Guinness, is nothing, zero. They are not giving us kobo. So I thank you sincerely, and more grace to the elbow of the chairman and board of directors, because they have really worked very, very hard for these efforts that produce this result, as well as the management. Thank you.
Thank you.
The chairman, the board members, regulatory authority here present, and my fellow shareholders, good morning. My name is Matthew Akinlade, the patron of Noble Shareholders Solidarity Association. I want to thank God for Unilever, because we have the right people, people that possess what it takes to lead a conglomerate like Unilever. And despite the macroeconomic issues that we had in the past 2 years, that you were able to come out of it, and not only coming out of it, coming out strongly. Because I was not expecting that you'll be able to pay dividend this year. But when I look at the annual report and I saw that the retained loss had been cleared, and even clearing it, you are able to have retained profit of about 70 billion. It's really amazing. I want to say thank you so much for providing the necessary leadership to the company, because you are setting the right tone, and I believe that's what has inspired management staff and those who are producing the result. And I want to appreciate them too. Beyond that, the way you are developing new products to expand the business is also commendable. From the chairman's statement on page 11, I read about new products introduced, Vaseline lotion and Pepsodent charcoal. And I believe that's part of what had led to astronomical growth in revenue. So please let us intensify this and grow the business, and probably look more at business that we can involve more of local content. Again, I want to appreciate the company for the training of over 13,000 women. And of these 13,000, I learned about 600 women living with disabilities were part of it to become macro entrepreneur. You are really addressing Nigerian national issue, making people productive. So we are doing very well. More of what I'm going to say is more of commendation, but there'll be few questions. Looking at board meetings, from page 34 to 35, board and committee meetings, in terms of our attendance, it's so good. But I look at a particular one, finance, audit, and risk committee meeting. Out of 4 meetings, there is a particular member that attended only twice. I believe that is not good enough. And in this modern age, even people that cannot attend physically, there's always provision for them to attend virtually. So we want to look at that. Another thing, another thing on which I have comment is on page 36. And that is the share holding structure of the company. Under page 36, Unilever Overseas is holding about 76%, leaving free float at just about 16%, against the mandatory float of 20%. Going forward, how are we going to address this? Yeah. On page 3 and page 56, taken together, that has to do with gender balancing. Out of a board of 10, 3 are female, which is about 30%, as against 33.1%. So probably we want to work on this as well. Also, in terms of workforce, on page 56, female percentage of permanent employees is just 19%. And temporary employee, 12%. So I'm an advocate of gender balancing. Let's look at this and see how we address it. Another thing I want to comment on is on our income statement on page 74. We are managing costs very well. Looking at revenue, it increased by 43%, and cost of sales increased by 32%. So, which means we are effectively managing costs, and even when revenue grew by 43%, sales and distribution expenses grew only by 8%, which is good for the business. There is one thing in that income statement that look unusual for me. They have marketing and administration expenses. From my experience over the years, I would like to think that marketing should be part of sales and distribution costs. Because initially, when I saw it and I saw that it went up by 45%, I was scared that administration. Then I look at it, the bulk of the expenses that was responsible for the increase is marketing. So we want to look at it, if possible, to classify marketing with sales and distribution. Note 45 on page 144. Note 4A on page 144. That is on export. Our export the previous year was 3.9 billion. But this year it dropped to 2.5. So somebody else has mentioned it. Let's please try and work on it so that we can aim more foreign exchange. I want to thank you for the opportunity afforded me to speak. I wish our company the very best, and so will it be. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Akinlade. We'll take a question in the middle here, the gentleman in the blue cap. And please, may I remind you to be very brief. There are many shareholders who want to speak, and we must give everybody a fair chance.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, thank you for giving me the opportunity. First of all, I would like to say, Mr. Chairman, good morning, sir. Board of Directors, regulators present, able shareholders.
And again, may I ask everyone, the protocols have been well established. Just stand on them and move on.
Okay, yes. With all protocols established, before I start, I would like to welcome the new members joining the board. People like Ibrahim Shodikwe, yes, and also that's the finance director, and also Mr. Uchenna Wakama. Hello. And like I said, I would like to welcome you people to the board. And I believe that as you've joined the board, you will build much wealth and knowledge to our great company, Unilever. Mr. Chairman, all has been said, but I just want one or two comments to add to this. Mr. Chairman, I know that we are doing business with, that's the plastics, the Wycilia plastics. I don't know, Mr. Chairman, our contract with them, how is it? Is it long-term or short-term? Because like I said, we need plastics to package our products. That is one. Mr. Chairman, also again, I noticed that on the annual report, our detergents, like the Sunlight we used to see, if you remember, Unilever was known for making Omo. That's actually what brought us to the market and made our popularity. On the annual report, we talked more about our Vaseline, our toothpaste, and our cubes. Maybe if we are still producing those products, we can put it in the annual report so that people will know. Knowing our annual report, we always have a role of the brands that we have. It's a way of marketing our products. And I believe that when we market our products, it can bring, new things and money into the kitty. I commend the board for bringing our new products like the Pepsi charcoal, as my earlier speaker said. And also, I noticed that on page 25, our board meetings were excellent. That's good also. And our audit committee, we had 5 meetings. According to the protocol, 4. But since you had 5, better for us. And last but not least, Mr. Chairman, I would like to commend the registrars, GTL registrars. Despite everything, we were able to have a very smooth, attendance and, accreditation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Jibuno Godfrey Uche, National Youth Leader of Shareholders Association of Nigeria.
Thank you very much. I'll take the comments in front here, and I haven't had a lady speak yet.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am King Adebayo Adebola Aderemi. Mr. Chairman, despite resilience shown in the 2025 financial year, inflationary pressure and weakening consumer purchasing power continue to affect volume across the FMCG sector. What concrete strategies is Unilever Nigeria PLC putting in place to protect market share without sacrificing long-term brand strength and profitability? 1. My second question. Considering the persistent foreign exchange volatility and rising production costs in Nigeria, to what extent has the company increased local sourcing of raw materials, and when should shareholders expect to see a more meaningful reduction in exposure to imported input costs? Lastly, the board has spoken consistently about sustainability and operational efficiency. Can management clearly explain how these initiatives are translating into measurable shareholder value, particularly in revenue growth, margin improvement, and dividend sustainability over the medium term? Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for this opportunity to engage.
Thank you very much. I'll take the gentleman on the far side. Now, I'm going to give you the last word. The gentleman on the far side. I've been a bit partial to the front.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity. Since a lot has been said, my question will be very brief. My name is Abayomi Adebayo. And first and foremost, I'd like to mention and to commend this board that looking at page 6, which is the result at a glance, this tells me clearly that this result we are considering is one of the best results so far this year, because I noticed that the profit for the year increased from 15 billion to 32 billion, and all other indices are positive. So I think we should applaud the board for this very good result. And Chairman, I want to also appreciate the board for the dividend of 3.25 kobo out of EPS of 5.60 kobo. But I'm calling the attention of the company secretary to page 7, where we're told about dividend payment and the closure of register. It was stated there that dividend warrant will be posted today. I think it should be noted that posting of a dividend warrant has been long abolished. So the statement should be that the dividend will pay directly to the bank account of shareholders today. You can check that page. That is what is written there. So we should please take note. Chairman, on page 11, I really want to commend the board for what I saw that they did there. Very, very impressive. The board has been able to reach out to over 900,000 young Nigerians with skills development, employability, and entrepreneurship skills. I think this is a very good one. They should please keep this up. I really appreciate them for this, for being concerned about use. And lastly, I will mention on page 41 to 43, where we have the list of the key distributors of our company. What I want to point out there is that from the list of Lagos distributors, I think that is need for us to increase the list of our Lagos distributors. Lagos is the commercial hub of Nigeria, and Lagos is so big. So, and additionally, I think there is need for us to also include the location of those distributors and their office phone number. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll take this question here and the final question from Nona.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Protocols observe as we have established. Yes, Mr. Chairman, I want to go directly to page. My name is Eke Chibuzo Emmanuel. Page 99. On administrative expenses by nature. I join my voice in congratulating the management and board for training both the less privileged, I call them. But sir, my suggestion here is I hope that the staff is also trained to this cyber crime that is happening in this country now. So I want to suggest, if they were not included in that training, please include both the finance team and those of our staff, so that they can be aware, because a particular bank is suffering that now. They paid a lot of money to rescue their website. Very consistent to that, Mr. Chairman, I want to go to trade and other receivables, page 75. It rose from 7.8 to 10.4. I know it's a moving figure, it reduces, but here it increases. But then my question is, what is our strategy to make sure we recover our monies as at when due? On page 140, Mr. Chairman, contingent liabilities. I want to concentrate on the pending cases. The board is assuring us on that page that there will not be much to lose there. But I want to go differently, Mr. Chairman. I want to suggest that if there are ways we can resolve some of these cases out of court, it will go a long way to retain our, to reduce the exposure and, for the company to go forward. On sustainability, Mr. Chairman, I want to suggest, because the continuously we grow the business is where we'll get more cake to share. I feel on cash and cash equivalent, Mr. Chairman, rising from 68 million to 110 million. And we have a healthy retained earnings. I want to suggest that we are keeping a lot of cash. Can we create more products so that we can be able to generate more funds? And also, we have a healthy reserve. Why keeping such? Let us create more businesses to make sure we make more money in the system. Well, I want to appreciate the board and management and staff of this company for the good work they are doing and delivering value to shareholders. Mr. Chairman, thank you for the opportunity given to me.
Thank you. Mr. Nona.
The Chairman, very distinguished fellow shareholders, directors here present. For the records, as introduced by the Chairman, I've not changed the name because I haven't had enough money to do adverts in the newspaper for change of name. So it has remained Nona Ao. Mr. Chairman, when you come for a meeting like this, the chances of you running into temptations are very high. And one of the temptations I ran into this morning, I haven't heard speakers before me, is that Chief Akinlade was indirectly asking that the men on this board should begin to take skettish cut allowance. So when you come here next year, so they won't say there are too many men. The men can wear the skirts. And then after the meeting, they can pull them. That is what I want to think. But looking at this account from the eye of last year, one of the things that I noticed last year is the fact that Toby had his hands well set as if he was looking for a glove for a boxing match. I was tempted not to say anything last year, but this year the temptation has come. And the temptation that I think that message was implying is that we are going to hit anything that was on your way. How well you have hit, I will tell you as I go along. First, I want to confirm that yes, you've been in seat of power for 12 months. But part of these results are not fully your own. Because a company is a continuum, it's not unlikely that some of the strategy that was put in before you came were some of the things that you benefited from. So I will not be scoring you largely on what this result has been. But because you have taken somebody's baton and you didn't let the baton drop, I will be asking some very related questions to this performance. First, like other persons have noticed, we have 11.4 billion naira increase in dividends. And that itself meant that you were doing 160% climb in dividends. I can assure you that if you ask very many of us here, what will have been our second name, very many of them will tell you Oliver, even when some of them are not English people. So you need to bear that at the back of your mind. And the same thing for your team, because you will not do the work alone. However, when it comes to what guides me as an investor, I can't understand what your policy is around dividend payment. So that is one of the things that I'm hoping that going forward. So that even before you get to the end of year, I can begin to say, this is what will come to me in terms of dividends. Because if you look at this year, you are doing 58%, and this itself is coming from 47% previously. So I can't put a figure as to what your policies are. So I want to see your policies. The second major area that I want to talk about has to do with the issue of raw material, local. Yes, we talked about your target being 60%. But I'm not too certain as to how I relate that looking at page 16 and page 143 around the issue of material and service, because both of them dropped. And I want to assume that those two are coming in from the local end of our business. Furthermore, on page 143, intercompany a receivable of 1 billion, almost 1 billion. I also want some understanding around that, because if it's something that we are certain that it will come, he also begins to give me an understanding as to where it will be ending, which certainly will be in the bottom line. I am also concerned around the issue of tax. If we didn't have the under provision the previous year, I'm not sure what all of that will have ended this year. And special thanks to the issue of finance income, because if we also didn't have the finance income of over 10 billion in the year under review, this result also will have been looking very different. I've pointed all of that as a way of guiding you as to what I'll be expecting in 2027, God granting light for 2026 results. But talking about the future, which for me is much more critical, given the transition that we also be hoping that will be coming on the table. Yes, we have started to come back to what it should be, CFO's results. But Toby, I'm not sure that you are not whispering in your CEO's report. What you should be doing is speaking out. Don't whisper. That report is a whisper. Don't whisper to us again. Because very soon you may be finding out that it becomes strenuous for us to hear you. So speak out and then we understand what you're saying. Mr. Chairman, page 36. This board has become a board of all independent directors. All, literally. We can't have shareholders, 97,000 other shareholders who have put money here, and you won't find anybody representing us. I don't think so. So your nomination committee has not done well. With due respect, they haven't done well. They haven't done well. They haven't done well. So the major assignment is that we'll give you a time frame. We must have one of the minorities on this board. If Ben can be standing in, thank you. If Ben can be standing in, one man for Unilever, the size that we have should also give us half man standing on this board representing us. So going forward, we want to have a representative. But Mr. Chairman, I am also happy that on the proxy page, page 171, you disclose what the director's fee for 2025 is. And we'll be paying it. What you disclose in 2025 account is again what we had paid in 2024 as indicated in that account, 120 million. And I think that in terms of being consistent, yes, consistent, because there is no increase. However, this amount needs to go down because one of your directors, who is also independent on another company, abused the tenure system of being an independent director. And if he can abuse it there, he shouldn't represent us here. So one of the things I will be suggesting that director will leave this board after this AGM, and then what you are going to be paying will be less than 120 million. Otherwise, if a director can abuse the tenure system as an independent director, then there is no independence in that director anymore. And if that director is also independent here, he has lost his independence. Okay, so that director shouldn't be on our board, with due respect. He shouldn't be on our board. But, Mr. Chairman, for the future, I will also be hoping that, as you indicated on page 42, that the Unilever scholarship disclosure and the one that you call GER needs to also be given better color, so that all of us will have a better understanding as to what both items are. For me, I start for knowledge. I continue. I stand for knowledge because an educated country and educated people, you never imagine how far they can go. And if you are in doubt, see what the China is doing to US, despite all the noise from the other end. I also want to think that the policy around exports that some of my colleagues have mentioned needs to be looked differently. And why am I asking that it should be looked at differently? The major shareholder is also restructuring itself, which I think is something that you also need to speak about and speak around for the future. But why will Nigeria, given our size and given our location, why can't we be a manufacturing hub for Unilever, for West Africa and Central Africa? Why can't we be? Why can't we be? So that is a major assignment that this board, unfortunately, because the rain held me back, I'm not sure that Ben, I've not been able to locate Ben. If Ben is on this board, that is one message you are going to take to our foreign partners. We must become a manufacturing hub for Unilever, West Africa, and Central Africa. That is when the size and the tag of being giant of Africa then becomes real. Not we produce 2 cartons of toothpaste, we said to Gambia, and then we said we are doing export. No, we've passed that stage. We've passed that stage, and Unilever must show us that we have passed that stage. When I mean Unilever Nigeria must tell us that we have passed that stage. So you need to have a very robust position with our foreign partners that going forward, not give us West Africa, because you see WEF with some of the senior managers. No, we have passed that level. We should be the producers for other persons. That is the way it should going to be going forward. Mr. Chairman, and that then brings me again to the foreign partners. Royalty. Nigerians have clapped that you are giving us higher dividends. But Unilever 2025 took away 5 billion naira in royalty and all of those jargons. 5 billion from 4 billion. This is not, I don't think this is where we should be. Because if you look at any of those countries in Asia in which the European countries are operating, nobody will approve this type of technical agreement fee for them. Nobody. And interestingly, even in this technical agreement, one of the things they added is tax. They are going to send us manpower. They are going to send all of that. So if tax is part of it, why are they even taking their own benefits pre-tax? You want to help us manage tax. But when it comes to taking money, you take it before the tax. What sense does it make? So going forward, this rate has to come down. Yes, I know you remind me, Chairman, that in 2023, they waived because we put pressure. We are not asking for a waiver. We are asking for a reduction. We are not beggars. And we are not going to beg. If they are going to make so much money from us, it's only proper and fair that they charge us a fair price. Yes, I've looked at the, what's it called? Related party transaction. I think it's beyond it. It's beyond it. So this board must all sit down and engage them in London that going forward, this is not going to be anymore. It's not going to be. We have passed that stage. We are no longer in 1960. Mr. Chairman, I will be hoping that our auditors must also help us. Small things usually will be ignored, but small things are becoming things of matters these days. Other than the total, for instance, in terms of royalty, technical agreement, and management fee, which is standing at 6.75% of profit before tax, I'll be hoping that next year when the auditors come in here and when we have this report on our hands, there should be breakdown of every of the 3 legs as how much we paid. Don't give us an aggregate because even the 6.75, it takes a lot of ravel and wrap and unwrap before you're able to get it. That shouldn't be, account should not be that complex. It shouldn't be. And on a final note, Mr. Chairman, unclaimed dividends. I'll be asking that the company secretary. Peter, first I want to thank you that because your signature looks like the Chinese currency, I'm sure they did a conversion, that's why we got this high. But do more of that signature getting smaller and looking more like the Chinese. But one of the things that you must do in 2026, which is going to be one of the assessments of you by me, is that the unclaimed dividend must go down. And the reason that that is so is that you will not have unclaimed dividend for Unilever. Okay? The Nigerian shareholders who help to make the price that Unilever will carry on its chest is made by these small shareholders. So we shouldn't have unclaimed dividends. And in not having the unclaimed dividends, we also require that you work with the registrar. If you probably need to be reminded, the registrar is an extension of your office. The only thing is that they are in Alagomeji while your office is in Ikeja. But you can also coordinate that. You will need to sit down with them and say, how do we bring down these figures? Otherwise, it will be absolute rubbish for me to complain that federal government had borrowed 100 billion naira of my money. Because the question that will be asked, what efforts are you making in making sure that that money is not available? Like I will usually say, you don't go complaining that armed robbers came into your house. When you didn't have a window, you didn't have a door, even the roof was not available, so they can come in from any side of the building. So let's begin to put these basic things, and then that way will also be better for it. And Chairman, it's on that note of wanting you to talk extensively, with due respect, as to the change, because the structure of our product line is likely to change with the arrival of these new persons in the Unilever group. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I will ask our Managing Director to start by dealing with a number of the questions and comments that we have received, and I will provide a final word.
Good morning, distinguished shareholders. Thank you very much for your... Yes, sir. Last year, Mama said I should stand up. So this year, Mama, should I stand up again? Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. So let me start by talking about 2025 very briefly. Because this was a defining year for us. If we look at the conditions, the macroeconomic conditions, and for us, the important thing was to execute with discipline and ensure that we created value. Value for our consumers, value for our customers in the route to market, value for the business, and also, most importantly, value for shareholders. It's important to also call out that our growth was consistent, it was competitive, it was profitable, and it was responsible. And therefore, if we operate on these fundamentals, we have confidence that as a business, we are geared up, to ensure that the momentum is sustained, which we have seen continue even into the first quarter of 2026. Our focus is very simple. We operate on the principle of play to win. Everywhere we play in, we want to win. And therefore, it implies that we show up with our best brands, show up with competitive costs that bring values to our shareholders and also to our consumers and shoppers, and ensure that we operate the business with prudence. Some of the initiatives which have been talked about have been born out of this approach which we've taken as a business, in ensuring that we rebuild confidence and also doing the basics brilliantly every day. We talked about our sustainability initiative. I think it is important to call out that everything we are doing on sustainability is not CSR. It is embedded in how we operate. The question on our relationship with certain recycling agencies or recycling partners is primarily born out of the fact that every ton of plastic that we produce that is associated with our products, we make sure that we collect that back from the environment. And that is the concept of even delivering beyond plastic neutrality. And that's the basis of the relationship, that we've had in that perspective. Some of the comments around our trade receivables, around also our cash position, it's a reflection of our route to market discipline. It is important to call out that our trade receivables in absolute value would go up because our revenue has significantly gone up as well. But if we look at it in concept of days, we are actually doing much better than the previous year, operating at very optimal levels. On the conversation around competitiveness, from our production, how we gain market share, the important point here is that we are leveraging on what we call our power brands. Brands such as Vaseline, Close-Up, Knorr, Royco, Rexona. These are power brands that are built on legacy, superior science, and they are brands that our consumers across the country have fallen in love with over the years. But it comes with also very intentional investment behind the brands. And to the point that was made around things like royalties, I think it is important to call out that these are brands that have benefited from intensive investment, science, research by Unilever at large. And therefore, conversations on royalties are, of course, treated at arm's length, but with full involvement of government, especially with NOTAP, and also how we disclose this transparently. Our approach as management is to focus on maximizing value from the brands. We believe strongly that we will continue to grow this business and add value for our shareholders by ensuring we grow our brands. Whilst it is important to minimize cost, we can't save our way into prosperity. So the focus for us is therefore to drive that extensive level of R&D, science, and also improvement in our brands to drive what we call desirability at scale, where Nigerians truly love our brands and they pick us from the clutter in terms of so many brands to choose from today. We stand out for something and our products deliver on what we promise. As regards the issues raised on our contingent cases, these are things that we are managing prudently, again, to ensure that we are looking after the interest of the business and shareholders. And of course, whatever it is that we need to do to protect the business, we will continue to do. As regards the question also on scholarship, and the renovation of schools, GEP actually is a partner that we work with who render procurement services. Our approach when it comes to some of the initiatives we're driving is to also widen the net and to consolidate efforts as opposed to everybody trying to do everything individually. So where we see that there are shared values, shared interests in terms of giving back to the society, investing in education of our children, then we will continue to collaborate in that regard. To the question around our export strategy, very, very spot on. And I want to assure our shareholders that this is something which we are also actively looking at to ensure that, first of all, our manufacturing costs are competitive. Business, as we continue to get more volumes to drive our factory operations, it will help ensure that our costs are truly competitive within the Unilever world, and therefore we will continue to dial up that aspect of exports, which our assurance to shareholders is that that is an area where we would see some improvement on. I also want to address the conversation very briefly on cash. Again, this is very consistent feedback, which the board, led by our chairman, has been a topic of conversation. And as a business, we continue to look at especially CapEx investments to put this money back into the business, into our brands, as we create more demand and ensure that we grow the business based on volume-led growth. And those are some of the actions which we've taken, and we've also reflected in some of the statements we had put in. I believe that in terms of the future, as the structural conversation that was raised, we have, transparently communicated what the status of that, the status of what that transaction is. And what I can say clearly is that our focus locally remains unchanged. We will run this business with discipline, with strengthened competitiveness, and we will continue to serve Nigerian consumers and create value. As the process evolves and we have that level of clarity, of course we will communicate responsibly and transparently, but then the focus is to continue as is today, business as usual, continue to drive the presence of our brands and also to gain on market share. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Managing Director. I do believe you actually covered, all of the points made. Perhaps I would just add that in many respects, 2025 was a very strong year for the business. And I think this business is beginning to return itself to a meaningful place in terms of the overall levels of performance. There's still a fair amount of work to do, but we're also minded that our shareholders judge us by the returns that we deliver to them. And the only assurance that I can make you in 2026 is that this engine is firing on all cylinders and running in the right direction. And, hopefully we'll also deliver to each and every one of you much stronger returns than in the year that has passed. I want to thank you all this morning for all of the comments. I note in particular all the comments about attendance at meetings. This is something which all of our directors are ensuring that no one is neglectful of in any way. I also want to speak, to the issue of independence. I think what is pretty clear is that a board benefits from having, a fair share and a broad share of representation of all of its stakeholders. This was not, a board that historically had sufficient enough independent members, and perhaps that has now been overcooked. And as we have any more statutory, or other vacancies that come up, we will ensure that all colors of the representation of the stakeholders of this company are represented on the board. I want to also thank you all for your continued support of the business. I want to thank, in particular, all of our distributors. I want to thank our bankers. I want to thank all of our staff in all parts of this country and everyone who continues to ensure that the results that have been laid before you today are delivered, but also will ensure that the results for 2026 are even stronger. Let me also thank all of our colleagues on the board for what they do, and in particular for their commitment to this business. And most especially, let me thank you all as our shareholders, and I look forward to the smiles on your faces when the bank alerts hit you very shortly. Thank you all very, very much. We now proceed to the most important item on our agenda, which is to declare a dividend. The board has recommended a final dividend of 18,671,267,605 naira 25 kobo, being 3 naira 25 kobo per share, subject to the deduction of appropriate taxes for the year ended 31st December 2025. May I move that this dividend in the sum of 671,267,605 naira 25 kobo, being 3 naira 25 kobo per share, subject to the deduction of appropriate withholding taxes for the year ended 31st December 2025, be paid to members on the register of members as at the close of business on Friday, 8th May 2026. Would a shareholder please rise and second this motion? Please provide her a microphone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for giving me the opportunity. My name is Alaja Sarata Iyabode Balogun. I rise to second the motion.
Thank you very much. May I ask all those who are in favor to signify by raising their hands? All those against? I declare that motion unanimously carried. We now proceed to item 3 on our agenda, which is the election of directors appointed after the last annual general meeting and the re-election of directors retiring by rotation in accordance with the Articles of Association of your company. In accordance with Section 274, subsection 1 and 275, subsection 1 of CAMA, Mr. Ibrahim Shodikwe and Mr. Uchenna Nwakama were appointed as executive directors since our last annual general meeting to fill casual vacancies on the board and in compliance with requirements of the Companies Act. I hereby move a motion for the appointment of these 2 directors by a single resolution. Would someone please rise and second that motion? Let me go over to the far side.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The name is Noble H.O. Nwabweze. I second the motion.
Thank you very much. All directors in favor? All shareholders in favor, pardon me. Those against? I declare the appointment of Ibrahim Shodikwe and Uchenna Nwakama as unanimously carried. Distinguished shareholders, we have 3 directors who are retiring and by rotation and being presented for re-election at this meeting. They are Mr. Michael Ikpoki, Mr. Ben Langat, who I had told you was unavoidably absent, and Ms. Ngozi Edozian. I hereby move a motion for the appointment of the 3 directors by a single resolution. Would someone kindly rise and second this motion? I'll take the observation very shortly. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you, my dear chairman. I, Prince Awosanya, I so do. All the way from Remo Federal Constituency.
Thank you. Can we take the note of observation from Nona Awo?
Chairman, I just want to observe that we need to confirm from the registrar if any of the proxy form that had been submitted has voted against one of these directors. It may be necessary that we take them one by one. Thank you.
I can confirm for your benefit that all of the proxy forms that were received on time were voting in support of all of these candidates. So may we now move to a vote. We'll take it after the vote, sir, please. All those in favor? And those against? I therefore declare the appointment of Michael Ikpoki, Mr. Ben Langat, and Ms. Ngozi Edozian as unanimously carried. I'll take that point of observation now, sir.
Hello. Can you hear me? Yeah, Mr. Chairman, good afternoon. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. You see, when you take a single resolution to put them in, you have to take another resolution, bring them properly. That is the rule. Single resolution is for them to come then, with no objection. The proper solution is to bring them in, as stated by law. Thank you. That means two resolutions, one for single, then one for proper.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and I note that point, and given that this is a matter that was voted for unanimously by the House, I believe that everyone's affirmation of these appointments is confirmed. We'll now move on to item number 4, which is to disclose the remuneration of the managers of Unilever PLC. In line with the provisions of Section 257 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, the remuneration of the managers of Unilever PLC for the year ended 31st December 2025 has been disclosed on page 102, Note 8 of the 2025 financial statements. The next item on our agenda is to authorize the directors to fix the remuneration of the independent auditors. Forvis Maza has acted satisfactorily as our independent auditors for the past year and have indicated their willingness to continue as the company's independent auditors. By virtue of Section 401, subsection 2 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, the auditors are reappointed without any resolution being passed. However, Section 408, subsection 1B of the Companies and Allied Matters Act requires that the auditor's remuneration shall be fixed by the company in a general meeting or in a manner as the company in a general meeting may determine. I hereby move the following motion that the directors be and are hereby authorized to fix the remuneration of the auditors for the year ending December 2026. Would someone please rise and second the motion? I'll take the lady in front.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Honorable Balogun Oluwatoyin. Thank you, sir. I thereby seconded the motion. Thank you.
I now put the motion to the meeting for voting. All those in favor? And those against? The motion again is unanimously carried. We now proceed to item number 6 on our agenda, which is the election of the shareholders' representatives on the Audit Committee in accordance with sections 238 and 404 subsection 3 of the Companies Act. It is my pleasure to inform you that the directors have appointed their own representatives. You are to elect today the 3 validly nominated shareholders to represent you for the year 2026. Please note that voting shall be by show of hands in accordance with section 248 subsection 1 of the Act and in accordance with section 404 subsection 6. The company secretary had received valid nominations in writing from 4 shareholders 21 days before the annual general meeting, each nominating another shareholder as a member of the audit committee. The nominators and nominees have been confirmed to be shareholders of the company. Accordingly, the valid nominees now being presented to you for election are as follows. Mr. David Olusegun Oguntoye, Alhaji Wahab Ajani Abidoye, Mr. Kolawole Durojaye, and Mr. Samson Olusegun Olagoke. It is my understanding that we received a withdrawal letter this morning from Mr. Samson Olusegun Olagoke. There being only 3 valid nominees, I therefore declare Mr. Olusegun David Oguntoye, Alhaji Wahab Ajani, Mr. Kolawole Durojaye as unanimously elected as your shareholder representatives for the year 2026 on the Audit Committee. Congratulations, gentlemen. Please take your seats. The next item on your agenda is special business to consider and, if thought fit, pass the following resolutions by ordinary resolution of the company. That the remuneration of the non-executive directors of Unilever Nigeria PLC for the year ending December 31st, 2026, be and is hereby fixed at 120 million naira only as directors' fees. I hereby move that the following resolution be passed as ordinary resolution of the company. That the remuneration of the non-executive directors of Unilever Nigeria PLC for the year ending December 31st, 2026, be and is hereby fixed at 120 million naira. Would a shareholder please rise and second this motion?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At last, my name is Adeni Olatunde Oladeji. I so do.
Thank you. All those in favor? And those against? I therefore declare the motion carried unanimously. The next item on our agenda is a special business to be passed as an ordinary resolution of the company. That pursuant to Rule 20.8 of the Rule Book of the Nigerian Exchange 2015 Issuers Rule, a general mandate be and is hereby given, authorizing the company during the 2026 financial year and up to the date of the next annual general meeting, to procure goods, services, and financing, and enter into such incidental transactions necessary for its day-to-day operations from its related persons or interested persons on normal commercial terms consistent with the company's transfer pricing policy. All transactions falling under this category, which were earlier entered into in 2026 prior to the date of this meeting, are hereby ratified. I wish to draw your attention to pages 138 to 140 of the financial statements, which provides more information in respect of the related parties' transactions contemplated. It is important to also let you know that this resolution is required to authorize the company to enter into recurrent transactions necessary for its day-to-day operations, such as the purchase, sale of supplies and materials, and procurement of goods and services with its related parties, that is, Unilever Holding BV, Unilever PLC United Kingdom, and other entities within the Unilever Group, up to transactions of a value to or more than 5% of Unilever Nigeria PLC's net tangible assets. Please note that, that as usual, the actual transactions will be disclosed in the financial statements for the current year. I hereby move that pursuant to Rule 20.8 of the Rule Book, a general mandate be and is hereby given authorizing the company during 2026 and up to the date of the next annual general meeting to procure goods, services, and financing and enter into such incidental transactions necessary for its day-to-day operations under the company's transfer pricing policy. Would someone please rise and second this motion? I'll take the lady in the back in green.
Thank you. I second the motion. Igbasomi Bukola.
Thank you, madam. I now put the motion to the meeting for voting. All those in favor? And all those against? I therefore declare the motion unanimously carried. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have now completed the formal business of the annual general meeting, and I would like to thank you all on behalf of the board and management for demonstrating your continued interest in and support of the company's affairs by attending this meeting. I would now like to call on a shareholder to give us a closing prayer.
Closing prayer, Mr. Chairman. Can we stand up? My name is Sunday Apu, APU. Our Father and our God, we thank you. We thank you for the peaceful deliberation of our dear company, Unilever. 101 years today. We pray, oh Lord, that as this continue to sustain, we pray that you continue to deliver more and more good things for us in Jesus' name. Amen. We pray that the board of directors, the management, you keep them safe and protect them, give them more knowledge and wisdom, that they should be able to make this company greater and greater in Jesus' name. Amen. And we shareholders, we shall continue to reap the fruit of our labor. Amen. We shall not suffer. And at the end of the day, we shall enjoy Unilever in Jesus' name. Amen. May you protect us home safely. In Jesus' name we pray. Thank you, Lord.
Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, for coming to the annual general meeting. I wish you all a safe journey back to your respective destinations. I now declare the meeting closed. The national anthem, please. Thank you all. God bless Nigeria.